Welcome back to the AutoFame Podcast, where we celebrate automotive history, culture, and the stories behind the world's most legendary vehicles. I'm Kevin Brady, your host and the founder of AutoFame.com, a platform dedicated to preserving the legacy of automobiles and the passion of those who drive them. In our first episode, we introduced AutoFame, explored its mission, and gave you a preview of what's ahead in this podcast series. Today, we're turning back the clock to the very beginning, the birth of the automobile and the pioneer era of motoring. This is where it all started. Before the roar of V8 engines, before winding roads and highways stretched across continents, there was a bold idea. What if we could move without horses? The idea of a self-propelled vehicle isn't new. It dates back centuries. Some of the earliest thinkers, including Leonardo da Vinci, sketched mechanical transport concepts. But it wasn't until the 18th century that we saw the first practical attempts at a self-moving vehicle. In 1769, Nicolas Joseph Cugnot, a French inventor, built a steam-powered vehicle designed for the military. It was slow, cumbersome, and could only run for a few minutes before needing to be reset. But it proved one thing: machines could move on their own. Steam-powered carriages became an experimental reality in the early 1800s, but they were far from practical. These machines were often unreliable, heavy, and limited by the need to generate steam. Still, innovation pressed forward. The dream of a truly independent, fast, and reliable vehicle continued into the 19th century. The birth of the modern automobile, Benz and Daimler, changed the game. Fast forward to 1885, and we meet the man most widely credited with inventing the first real automobile, Karl Benz. Karl Benz built the Benz Patent-Motorwagen, a three-wheeled vehicle powered by a single-cylinder internal combustion engine. Unlike steam-powered machines, this was lighter, practical, and self-sufficient. While Benz was working on his design, Gottlieb Daimler and Wilhelm Maybach were developing their own internal combustion engine, and in 1886 built what was essentially the first four-wheeled car. These breakthroughs set the stage for the automobile revolution, but the world wasn't quite ready for this strange, new invention. Most incredible stories from this era is that of Bertha Benz, Karl's wife. In 1888, without telling her husband, she took his motor wagon on a 65-mile journey, the first ever long-distance car trip in history. She drove from Mannheim to Pforzheim, Germany, proving that the automobile wasn't just a novelty, it was practical. Along the way, she stopped at a pharmacy to buy fuel, making it the world's first gas station, cleaned a clogged fuel line with her hairpin, making her the first roadside mechanic, used her garter to fix an ignition wire, early roadside repair innovation at its finest. Her trip changed everything, proving to the public that the automobile wasn't just a rich man's toy, but a viable mode of transportation. The rise of the automobile industry, following Benz's and Daimler's breakthroughs, innovators across the world began improving on their designs. 1893. Charles and Frank Duryea built the first gasoline-powered car in the United States, marking the start of American automotive history. 1899. Renault, Fiat, and other European companies began mass-producing early automobiles. 1900, the first car dealerships appeared, and a small but passionate group of motorists began forming car clubs. But there was one man who would change everything, a man who would make the automobile accessible to the world, Henry Ford. In our next episode, we'll talk about Henry Ford, mass production, and how the Model T changed the world forever. But before we wrap up, let's talk about how you can be part of the movement, get involved with AutoFame. The pioneer era is full of stories of passion, risk, and innovation, and your car has a story too. Join AutoFame.com today. Add your car and preserve its legacy in our digital Hall of Fame. Find car events near you and connect with fellow enthusiasts. Engage with the automotive community, because every car has a story worth telling. The history of the automobile is still being written, and you're a part of it. Visit AutoFame.com and become part of the legacy. Until next time, keep your hands on the wheel and your heart in the journey. See you on the road.